What's going on, everybody? It's the REKAP Lunch Hour with Guff, me, Ryan McGuffey, here from the REKAP Studios on this fine Thursday afternoon from the great city of Chicago here on the Lunch Hour. It's all brought to you by our partners at Hooters. Go to originalhooters.com to visit one of the 11 Chicagoland locations nearest you. The chat is fired up. Plenty to discuss here on this fine Thursday, and I'm looking forward to seeing some of you in the chat who I know will be here, or I hope to be here, let's put it that way, as we discuss on this Thursday some sports news without baseball. A day of rest on a Thursday afternoon with both the Cubs and the White Sox off today, and the Cubs certainly earned it. They only scored 9 runs in 3 games against the Rockies, okay, and swept them anyway. And that's what I thought. I said on this program that I thought the Cubs, I'm not a big fan of saying like, oh yeah, you need to have a sweep. But I thought that the Cubs needed to have a sweep against the Colorado Rockies for obvious reasons. So then we have the Caleb Williams news that is certainly, I think at this point, no longer news. And hopefully we can bury this as we discuss it right here on the Lunch Hour, as I remind folks here on socials that we are off and running. So can we put the Caleb Williams story to bed? That's what I'm asking here, because I hope that we can, and I think that we will. The fact that Caleb Williams started his press conference yesterday, first of all, the fact that he met the media yesterday and started it with a 3.5 minute, I'm trying to find the story here, 3.5 minute opening statement. He wanted to take the bull by the horns and discuss. And he said, sorry about that. He said in the upcoming book from Seth Wickersham that we know, him and his dad tried to make sure that he went anywhere but Chicago. I thought he did a great job by saying, look, as everyone knows, it's a fact that the quarterback play here, that there hasn't been a 4,000-yard passer, and that he had thoughts and ideas, and he has family mulled over about where he could begin his career, talking about his preferred destination. But then he said this, and this is where I think we can bury it and move on. I wanted to come here and be the guy, and be a part of a reason why the Chicago Bears turned this thing around. The last thing that I said in that story, and all of that, I think is the most important thing. And it's that I wanted to be here and that I love being here. Actually, I shut my dad down quite a bit. He has his ideas, and he's a smart man. And so I listen. I always listen. I'm very fortunate to be in a position in the sense of playing quarterback, and very fortunate to have a strong-minded father. We often talk. My mom and my dad are my best friends. So having those conversations is everything. And I listen to understand everything that's portrayed on me. So he cares so much about me and my future. We've been on this journey so long together. All he wants is what's best for me. What's wrong with that? I have a son that plays football. I'd be doing the same damn thing. Everything I do would be looking out for my son, my daughter, and what's in their best interest, trying to make sure that that we can discuss this and say, hey, maybe this isn't the best situation. This is where quarterbacks go to die. And good on Caleb for saying, you know what? This is where I want to be. This has been a distraction for a couple of weeks, and I'm putting this to bed and we're moving forward. I think the question had to be asked. It had to be answered. It had to be addressed, and we can move on. Eric, great win for the Cubs last night. Glad Caleb Williams addressed the book issue. Now it's time to focus on 2025 and beyond. Becky, obviously jacked up about OKC. Eric and Becky. Gibson of the O's is now a free agent. That's Kyle Gibson, I believe. So look, if you're a free agent in Baltimore right now, if you've been DFA'd, it's because you're just not good. And the Rays have already swooped in and taken a stab at him, which tells you usually when the Rays do something like that, they see something. So he's not a free agent. Becky's already been picked up. Thomas, good question here. First to 40 wins. Dodgers, Mets, Phillies, Yankees, Tigers, or Cubs. So right now, the closest team to that is the Detroit Tigers, who are at the Royals starting tomorrow. The Royals, obviously a pretty good team. You got the Yankees at 35, the Phillies at 35, the Cubs at 35. The Phillies have a doubleheader that's ongoing right now against the Braves, who people were pushing back on me on social. The Braves aren't selling. They got Ronald Acuna back. They're 9.5 games out of the East. They're 5.5 out of the wild card, and there's 10 teams in the National League that have a better record. And I think that a lot of people need to do a lot more research about Chris Sale. Oh, he's often injured. He won the gosh darn Cy Young last year, and he's been one of the better pitchers of late in Major League Baseball. The Cubs have the Reds, okay? Like, looking at the Cubs, could the Cubs be the first to 40? I think the answer could be, well, 1,000%. Let's say they take 2 out of 3 this weekend. After this week, then it gets into June. You're at the Nationals. Then that Tiger series next weekend is going to be, they go on the road after the Nationals, at Detroit, at Philly. Whoo! Whoo! Speaking of the Phillies, they are the hottest team in baseball right now. I really want to say the Cubs. I'm going to go Phillies by default because of the way that they're playing. I'm going to go Phillies, not the Tigers. I think the Royals will battle them. So it's a great question, Thomas. Soto has been bad for the Mets, but let's just say this. There's not a damn person that wouldn't take Juan Soto on their team. It doesn't surprise me that he struggled. It doesn't surprise me, but he is one of the best players in baseball. That's not going to be a contract. Like, that's going to be a fine. He's one of the best players of all time. William, what do we got here? Appreciate you, William. Let me get you in here, pal. William with the paid comment. William, I appreciate you, man. I'm jumping you way to the front of the line. I scrolled all the way down to get this. So sad about Tim Anderson. What a fall off. Bat speed, hand, leg injuries killed TA. Abreu always kept him in check. Also, both fed off each other's skill. Couple of things here. First off, just the general sadness about TA. I don't know, and I can't remember seeing somebody whose star was so bright go so dim so quickly. I know he had some off the field stuff too. Okay. He had issues in his marriage and outside of it, kids, etc. I'm not going to judge him for that. That's not who I'm going to do. That's not what I'm going to be. But it all just seemed to snowball on him really quick, and he was DFA'd by a team that, quite frankly, is garbage in the Angels. I know they were 500 as soon as last week. I just don't think they're that good. And it is an incredible fall off from what was a 2-time batting champion, an all-star, Hank Aaron Award winner. As for Abreu, look, I think a lot was made about Abreu's leadership. Here's what I'll say about Abreu's leadership. He was a lead by example guy, not like come under my wing and do what I say. He was, here's my handbook, read it if you want to. I'm not going to poo-poo Jose Abreu because that guy played injured more times than anybody. But I will say, in terms of leadership, he was this first guy to get there, last guy to leave, but he wasn't taking on 8 players in the offseason and say, come down here and train with me. But William, appreciate the comment, man. Certainly thank you for you jumped the front of the line when you're dropping $4.99 down on the comments. You're darn right. TA, I had a very good history with him. But, he went kind of dark too. He blocked a bunch of us on social media. And I just hope that whatever happens next for Tim Anderson, whether it's in baseball or out, that it's bright and that he still has plenty to give and offer, because he certainly does. He's one of the best and just a good human being, at least in my dealings with him. So thank you, William. 2 stats of the day from Eric. PCA, fastest Cubs player to 15 homers and 15 stolen bases. That's incredible. So early in his career. And second, this one's really juicy for all of you guys out there barking about the Cubs. Look at what they've done in the second half of May. Second half of May, they have the best bullpen ERA in baseball. And maybe that's because Daniel Palencia has seemed to be that guy at the end of games. Got his 4th save last night. If Seiya stays healthy, he can really help this team. Becky, he leads Major League Baseball in RBI. I'd say it could do more than help this team. My guy, Lip Ripper, what free agent do you think the Sox should target in the offseason? Whew. Man, I'll tell you what. I don't expect 20. I don't, unfortunately, and this is not going to make a lot of people happy. I don't see them targeting some big time contract. Okay. Now they're going to need a center fielder. I'd love for them to go after Kyle Schwarber, but a lot of teams are going to want Kyle Schwarber, and a lot of teams that are trying to win are going to go after Kyle Schwarber. And quite frankly, they should. Here's the type of, do the Cubs go after, or the Cubs, do the White Sox go after the Michael Conforto types? I think Mike Yastrzemski might stay in San Francisco. Starling Marte, older, I know. I'm looking at like they're going to need outfield help because Luis Robert not going to be here. Braden Montgomery, in my opinion, will not break camp next year with the White Sox. Andrew Benintendi offers some question marks in terms of will a team take a trade possibility with him at this deadline? Probably not. In the offseason with 2 years at $15 million at what he has to offer, I think you can make a case. So they're going to need some outfielders, I think. You're going to have to overpay. You might have to overpay like a 3-year deal for somebody. But there's just, you're not going to get like, I mean, I look at a lot of these guys and I think they have a lot to offer still. And I just don't know, when I look around here that there's some standout guy. They probably could use one more veteran pitcher. And looking at the list of those guys, could you bring, again, they're all going to want to win, but money talks. Could you bring in a Chris Bassett? I know it's not sexy. I just think they're 2 off seasons away from making that bigger move. Good afternoon to the real Phil Simms. Doesn't matter who comes out of the East. No one's beating OK City. Straight beatdown last night. When I turned that thing on, down 30 in the second quarter, I'm like, this thing is over and over in a big way. Thank God, though, the bet of the day. We'll get to that in a little bit. Breck, look at Breck. He's tipping that cap. He's in his profile picture there. Congrats, Becky. No doubt about it. Oklahoma City looks to be far and away the best team in the league. I'll be interested to see. I'm assuming the Pacers win this series. I think the Knicks have one more punch to throw tonight. But I'll be interested to see if the OK City Thunder can slow down that Pacers pace. White Sox had more home runs in the series than the Mets. That's a rare statement, Eli. That hasn't happened often this year, to be quite honest with you. The White Sox, not one of baseball's best power teams, but Miguel Vargas of late, been pretty special. The White Sox rank 27th in all of baseball. They're tied for 27th with the Colorado Rockies. Not really where they want to be. They have 46 home runs as a team. The Pirates have 40, and the Royals. How about the Royals? Over 500. They have 33 home runs as a team. Shohei Ohtani is flipping 20 already. I mean, Tucker, Seiya, and Suzuki have more home runs. Tucker, Seiya, and PCA have more home runs than the bottom feeders here. And the Mets are right in the middle of the pack, I believe, in home runs. They're top 11. So, yeah, sometimes you get it. Sweep by the Cubs, says Jess. The win took away so many homers, but they beat the Rockies and the Lake this time. And sometimes you just have to play the game the way the weather plays to it. And the Cubs had great pitching in the entire series from all of their starters, and they got the job done. They got the sweep. 50 RBI for Seiya and PCA before June is absolutely insane. They are both on pace for a 40-plus, 140-plus RBI season. Like, that's double MVP type stuff. I mean, Seiya's on pace for a season that would be easily an MVP type season. You know what? I'll bring him up just so you guys know. I did this the other day, but I just want, like, if this was a season normally, it's an absolute MVP season. Here it is. He's on pace this year for 41 homers, 148 RBI, 46 doubles, and 95 runs. Like, that's MVP, and he wouldn't even be in the top 3. Kyle, happy Thursday. Glad the power bill. Yeah, for those of you yesterday that watched the show, power went out right about this time. That'd be freaky if it did it again. Came back up, fired up the phone. We were ready to go. Watch the Caleb press conference. Glad he addressed the situation. It wasn't necessary. Let's move on. Keep working towards a great 2025. Champs beat the Canes last night. Oilers beat the Stars. Rematch of the 2024 Stanley Cup. Only this time, the Cup is going to Edmonton, according to Phil. We didn't pitch well. There's no bullpen, Eli. The bullpen is not good enough to hold leads. Sweeps are very difficult, says Al, and he's right. Who cares? They were close games. Cubs can show they play small ball too and with great defense. And I think that's important, Al. You can't win every game like you did last weekend in Cincinnati, coming back from 8-3, 8-4, scoring 11-8. Doesn't work in the pros like it does in house league baseball. Jess, something I don't understand. Why does some local media networks focus so much on I'm guessing you say the useless, because it's clickbait type stuff. Just people want to follow the blood in the water. And unfortunately, in this particular world we live in, I think that's where a lot of people go. Swayze, what's up? I don't know what anyone expected him to say now. It's not like he'll say, damn right, I want it out. Agreed. Totally agree. Phil, end of discussion. He said it. Simple as that. Let it go. BSBL Toss, are you going to answer the Twitter responses? Yes. We put a tweet out earlier. Me and BA are going to do a White Sox recap podcast this afternoon. We turned it over to you, and there's a boatload of questions on social media about the White Sox. We will put them in a podcast that will be released later tonight. Kyle, hope Indiana can pull it off tonight. Love seeing Spike Lee and Stephen A. face whenever the Knicks get knocked out. Sure, the NBA doesn't want Indiana. Will affect the ratings. Yeah, Oklahoma City, Indiana, not quite what the NBA was hoping for in ratings. Yep, talked about that. Tim Anderson. Williams says, yeah, great. Jess, I just kind of answered the first part of your question a little bit. Eric Bienemy called out Kyle. I can't even say this. I better get this right. The 7th round running back, Manon guy during a drill. Love the accountability of the coach. Hell yeah. And it sounds like, we went to dinner the other night with a player trying to get a deal done here on the recap. And the accountability is what everyone's talking about. The Ben Johnson effect and how they're not putting up with crap that's been happened here in the past. Godfather, so the Cubs beat up on the teams they're supposed to. Ricketts sitting on his throne with his chest puffed out. Cubs need a top of the rotation guy. Will you pay? I think not. I do. And I said yesterday, and I'm going to keep this going, I'm monitoring the hell out of the Atlanta Braves, which, by the way, I think I'm calling a time of death on these guys. Like, I think Atlanta is in trouble. I really do. Chris Sale, right now, if I'm the Cubs, right now. OKC, Indiana, NBA Finals, Florida, Edmonton, Stanley Cup. Yes, Clyde, you got it. The Field of Dreams game was prime TA7. The brightest stars burn out the fastest. And Lip, to your point about that, the greatest single game I've ever been to, and that was probably the highlight of the first rebuild. And I'm being honest. I really believe that game was the highlight of the first rebuild. The Field of Dreams game. You know what's a highlight of most every single day? The beautiful people at Hooters. OriginalHooters.com. Visit one of the 11 area Chicagoland locations near you. Tender tacos. I talk about the tender tacos and the shrimp tacos so much, and the mango habanero and the cinnamon twist pretzel bites. God, I love them so much. We didn't pick it up on the way home last night. Game didn't go the way we want to. I saw Chef Paul's join the chat. I owe him double pizzas. Very emotional game when you're coaching kids. And I will say this, and we'll get to that in a moment. Hooters was not the place that we were able to go to last night. Stayed back, watched Chef's grandson take home the title, and much deserved to Hitch Elementary School. And felt like we were one of the best teams in the city of Chicago. I still believe that. And we did not get to Hooters last night, but I could use a Big Daddy mug because I owe Chef double pizzas now. And I'm going to have to wash that down with a Big Daddy mug full of Summer Shandy, Blue Moon, or Dos Equis. If you want to pick up stuff to go, order.hooters.com. Proud to have the partnership of Hooters here on this program. Speaking of Chef, look who's next in the chat. Chef, does anybody have the record for the over and unders for the Cubs this year? I can get that for you, Chef. I can get that. I can get that for you, my man. Chef wants to know the over-unders, and I got that for you, Chef, right now. The Cubs, this is interesting, Chef. Okay. Interesting question. The Cubs are number one in Major League Baseball in the over. Something to think about. They went very under this week. So they are 32-19-5 on the over. 62.8%. The Cubs on the over. So there you go, Chef. You ask, I answer, my friend. Local media needs to report on stories, but there is a fine line between reporting and sensationalizing. I hope we never hear about this dumb story again in September. It was addressed. Let's move on. Jess, there are people who dip in and dip out too. Like a lot of national media will come in. Oh, they'll have an agenda. I'm with you. This shit's done. Like, let's move on and let's go. Eli, is Benintendi a trade candidate? Is that possible? He was a trade candidate last year. He was a part of a couple of trade proposals that were bigger packages for Crochet. So I do think there are teams interested in a guy like him. The problem is, are the White Sox, depending on who they're getting in return, will they find a team willing to take on all of the money? Or is there going to be something where the White Sox pay down more money and get a better prospect in return. He's owed 32.2 after this year, and he's roughly owed about $40 million. Trade candidate? I don't know about that. I mean, you're going to have to figure out the money. I agree with you on TA, says Dustin. Thought the Cubs should have added him as a bench piece. Well, I don't know. I'm at work now, Ryan McGuffey. Clyde, I'm going to stop doing this because now you're getting called out by people. Yeah, you asked this comment yesterday when we lost power. What do you want me to tell you? The Sky Angel Reese and Camila Cardozo. What do you want me to tell you? The team's garbage. They're trying to come out of a rebuild. Everyone wants to compare everybody to the Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark's the GOAT. She's an all-around basketball player, and the Chicago Sky have a lot of work to do. May 29th, still under the luxury tag. I love when Godfather comes. Speaking of chest out, Godfather's elbow out. Lunch Hour crew, definitely check out the latest Cubs recap podcast with Cap, Guff, and Gordon. The Chicago baseball lineup was pretty good with all mediocrity we've had to endure on both sides since 2000. Can't wait for the next one. Kyle, appreciate you as we figured out the best players in Chicago baseball the last 25 years. Yep, already took care of that one. What do you think Rizzo's going to do? He's working for MLB Network right now, usually a sign that the career is all but likely done, and he's going to be a dad soon, I believe. So maybe he's waiting for an injury, but folks, as it gets closer to the trade deadline and closer to the summer and Anthony Rizzo's not in a camp, tells you he's probably likely done. Rockies pitched surprisingly well this series. They fought, and that's something to give them props for. William, again, with the hammer down here, my friend. I appreciate you. I thought Reinsdorf hinted towards signing a big international contract around 27 or 28. Call me crazy. I do believe Jerry will spend again. I don't think you're crazy. I do think they'll spend again. Here's what you have to look at spending in this particular offseason or next one. There is a fat labor dispute coming in 2027 that could shut down the sport. And if it does, I think it'll be catastrophic for Major League Baseball. And I'm not sure they'll ever recover. They already have a problem with youth in playing the game of baseball, let alone watching the game of baseball. So I think that you are correct there. That's why, and I don't think they're quite there, whether they're ready to spend a year early on something that could be sitting there at home in 2027. So I do agree with you, William, here. 27 and 28, when I do think I said this to Chris Getz right here in the studio. I don't see a scenario where they're competitive before 2027. And I mean competitive is fighting for a wild card spot. So I think that lines up to me with a 2027 or 2028 type free agent. I do not think you're crazy. I think some other people might think so, but I just don't think that is something to worry about. If I'm the Sox, I look at adding Happ as a veteran leader. I believe he's in the final year of his deal, and if the price is right, maybe he goes to the south side if Alcantara and Cassie come up. I believe Happ gets an extension with the Cubs. Just played his 1,000th game in the Cubs uniform. Could be interesting. I know Ian Happ is married to a local gal and resides here. He's a Midwest guy. I think that would be attractive. Like Mike Tauchman, big reason he signed with the White Sox. A, to start, B, the money. C, it kept him at home, and he's got a new kid. So I think there's attraction there if Happ is seeing positives of the White Sox. Hard to do Cubs to Sox, but I'm just saying, I think that type of player, Dustin, a 2-3 year type guy, is the type of free agent that you're looking at. I think we'll see Kyle Teal. I think we could see him trade deadline-ish. And the reason is they have a catching problem. We have Edgar Caro here. They already got rid of Matt Theis in a trade earlier this week. Now Corey Lee's back from the IL. You have Edgar Caro. And who else am I forgetting with the White Sox in the catching situation? You have a 3-catcher team right now. Matt Theis is gone. You have Corey Lee, Edgar Caro, and you have Kyle Teal. I think Corey Lee likely gets dealt. He obviously, here's Steve saying the Sox need to bring up. You got to get rid of one. You don't just DFA Corey Lee. You just don't do that. And the reason because he has a lot to offer, and I think teams catching's at a premium in this league. Kyle Teal doing a really good job, turning things around. He's got almost a 400 on base, 7 homers, 28 RBI. The guy's doing what he's supposed to do. He will force the issue. Shannon, absolutely. I agree. Let's effing go. Lip, I got 4 teams for you to watch for college baseball regional starting tomorrow. Vandy, Arkansas, Tennessee, Ole Miss, and yes, all SEC. OD, if you know, you know. I think I know what you're alluding to because the bet of the day is coming. And it seems like we've gotten a lot more people, new people on hopping in to see what the bet of the day is. All good, Jess. I got you. You know that. Trying to look here. My goodness, look at all of this. Jordan, my guy. Love this man. Believe I saw Chris Sale throw up from behind home plate with a one Ryan McGuffey at Fenway a few years back. We did. I call that the Dylan Covey game, when Dylan Covey actually outpitched Chris Sale in 2018 at Fenway Park. Incredible. I think it was the Sox won that game 2-1. Do you think Vaughn comes up again, or they just move on? I do think he comes up again, but it might be longer than people think. Speaking of Andrew Vaughn, you want to know what he's doing down in AAA? He's played 3 games. He's hitting .231. He does have a homer, so that's good to see from him. William, would love to see Reinsdorf invest in the Sox, but I'm not holding my breath. I get that, Jess. Hurts me also. I appreciate that. Vaughn's toast here, at least. He'll probably pull his sheets if he goes elsewhere. That would be interesting to see. Phil, when will PB be on? Great question. I'm glad you asked. PB and I have exchanged some messages. Unfortunately, he's out of town and through next week. So not putting that off. I appreciate you asking. I know other people have asked. We will have the great Pat Boyle on to talk Blackhawks when he's back. You know, we have kids, responsibilities, and vacations. So when he comes back from all of that, we will get it done. I do think the Braves figured out will be in the wild card spot by the All-Star game. Just took the 7-1 to win the division round. Lip, I don't. I don't think the Braves can leapfrog all of the teams that they have to get into the. It'll be interesting to see who moves first when it comes to saying we'll sell. Like, we'll take a chance and we'll sell early. Kyle, does Reggie Miller give Spike the choke sign if Indiana wins tonight? He might. That would be interesting to see. He might. Landon, every Sox contention window has been shortened by a shutout or by work stoppages or pandemics since 94. I mean, seriously, isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? Really love the press conference with Hawks' new coach. I know it's easy to say the right things, but he seems to know his stuff. Seems to be a guy you want to root for. Love the fact that he's been in the role before. That's a huge start for the White Sox. Let's see, a couple more here. My goodness, William, I can't stop getting you in the program, my friend. I appreciate you so much, dude. Robert Jr.'s future, superpower still there. Mets or Phillies trade partner maybe would love. Ronnie Mauricio on the Sox. Robert's stolen bases and defense is elite. I don't think he's going to bring elite type talent back. The question is, because it's a seller's market, does that favor the White Sox? You would think. He's not doing much from a power and extra base hit situation, but you're right. A lot of teams. And the other thing, William, about Robert is if he does go to a club like that and turns it on, you have the right to pick up options for next year and the year after that. So you control the player. And I know everyone thinks what everyone thinks they think they know about what Robert Jr. He's just not been that guy. Mike, I don't see the Braves fading with Acuna now back, and they've played better recently. So not sure a starting pitcher trade will come from them. Not sure who it could come from, really. I'm going to stay true to this one. I think they are in a situation where they need all of June to try to win. The Phillies lead 2-0 at the end of 3. Guys, I don't know. You're right, Acuna, but I think they're in such a rut that they could be in a problem. So let's talk about what we've been talking about. Guys, we are off and running. Chef Paul, the one thing we've been, I hope, at least agreeance on, my goodness, my friend, Pablo, these are for you. The Aviators are back, OD. If you know, you know. The Aviators are back. I was terrified of a situation last night, like we saw in Oklahoma City, of a big-ass blowout. It was 58-27 when I did a look, and I was like, oh, this isn't good. This isn't good. And then our guy, he had 8 points early. Our guy turned it on with 16 in the second half. I thought they were going to bench everybody. They didn't. Julius Randle finishes with 24, going way over the 16 and a half we need. Cash, 3-0, guys. Look at that May record. We're 15-8 in May. We got 3 more days. Actually, 2 more days, because we have today and tomorrow. So we have a shot to get this puppy up. We finished at least 5 games over in the month. I'm going unconventional here. I am going unconventional. And Lip Ripper is going to love this one. I'm going 2 or more steals. We're going back to OG Anunoby. There are a couple of props here. I was really leaning Josh Hart over 9.5 rebounds because He's been a cash machine with 10 plus and 4 out of his last 5, which I'm leaning on that. But I looked at the defense where OG Anunoby's 2+ steals. I was leaning between him and Halliburton. Okay. It's 2+ steals for Anunoby. Has done it 4 out of 5 games. This series, 3 steals, 2 steals, 1 steal, 3 steals. The games in the Garden, 3 steals, 2 steals. We need 2. They need OG Anunoby in a big way to keep their series alive. And at the Garden, we need 2 from OG. And at plus 115 value, folks, I'm going off the board to try to go 4-0 this week. OG Anunoby paid us the other day in points, 16.5, by the way, if you're scoring at home. 2, that's tonight. 2+ steals tonight. Woo-wee. Let's do it. Clyde, I've ignored plenty of people because there's a boatload of questions. I answered your questions earlier. Clyde, come on, man. Be better. Be better. Steve could have had Halliburton. We know. We've talked about that. But you need a talented front office. Hey, this is where, but injury prone, high ceiling, injury prone, done with another team might be the best case scenario for the White Sox because, like Miguel Vargas, top 100 prospect at some point, the Dodgers were like, we're done with you. And the Sox have been able to iron him out from what looks to be a really good, talented player right now that's shown a lot of pop and surprise. So maybe it's a situation like that. OD, with you, Guff, put the Josh Hart rebounds over ticket in already. I like the plus odds for this OG bet. Well, you got to ride it. We're having a hot week. We're staying on. Let's go. Let's go, Lip. That pick just tickles my fancy. A true sharp pick there. Lab results say to hammer it. Let's ride. I tell you, Lip, I look at every one of the Sharps picks, and then I was like, let me go under the hood and look at something a little bit more telling. And I like consistency, and I like what's going on. That Knowledge Unlimited, you ignored my one question in a chat of thousands. Love you, Knowledge. Hey, Clyde, you know we love you, my man. You don't get ignored. Here, you know what? I'm here just for you. He's projected. They don't do projections all out in stolen bases. But if you want to do this, it's the end of May. He's got 15 stolen bases. So what you do is 7.5 times 6 is 45 stolen bases. That's what he's projected for, Clyde. Are we good? Are we good? Who here doesn't sit in left field with us bleacher bums? All bleacher bums, I hope. I love it. Are we trading anybody when Cabrera gets on the roster tomorrow? Guys, can't project everything. I do my best, and I answer all. Let's go back to the bet. There we go. I got nothing to say. Nothing to say but love. Hey, so there's the bet of the day. OG Anunoby, 2+ steals, plus 115. We try to go 4-0 this week. And I don't know if my guy is still on, but I know I'm putting kids on YouTube, but appreciation post here for some boys I love. One on on the picture, he's on my left. My guy Jackson. You had 3 different schools with 9 players from a state championship team in the finals last night going toe-to-toe. I think that says a lot about the talent on the field. Chef Paul's grandson is featured on the right here next to my son. Really cool stuff. Proud of you guys. Proud to know it. Proud to play you. And go win the whole damn thing, Hitch, because that's the way I want it to fall out. So appreciation post right there for all the guys and love that was on the field last night. And my God, the talent. Woof, woof. All right, we're going to wrap things up. And, well, sorry, Clyde. Going to wrap things up. Went a little long today because I went a little short yesterday. Appreciate you guys. It's all presented by Hooters, originalhooters.com. Have a great day. The weather, guys, I'm going to finally say it. I think we're finally starting to turn. We're starting to turn. It's going to be 69 today, 76, and then take a peek next week. Take a peek next week. All right, buddy. Have a great day. Take care of yourselves. Let's finish the week undefeated. Let's get 2+ steals from OG Anunoby. I'm Ryan McGuffey. We'll see you guys tomorrow. It's all presented by Hooters, originalhooters.com, order.hooters.com for your pickup orders to go. We'll see you guys.